doing, Coach?
Hey, Pat. How we doing, Pat?
Great.
Well, let me tell you, I wish they had changed that onside kick rule when we were playing against you. That would have saved us a lot of practice time.
I know. I
Man, I'm
enjoyed
telling
that.
you, that was a pain. And, oh, man.
Yeah.
And you got us on the one, but luckily there was a penalty on it. And we got off the hook. But, man, I'm telling you, that was a problem. But, what's interesting on that play, I think if they had twisted the two, Hollins jumped up. He didn't really have it. If the outside guy had gone for Hollins and knocked him down instead of jumping up trying to recover the ball, and they looped one of those other guys back outside, I mean, it might have been a better play. But, yeah, I'm with you. I mean, when you have to declare the onside kick, it takes that. That's the perfect example right there of you'd have to play for the deep kick as well as the onside and really give the kicking team an advantage. But when you have to declare it, it just takes any of the mystery out of it.
We had a couple years there where a surprise onside kick was coming any time for us, and we were successful with a surprise right, we were successful with a surprise left, and we were successful with a surprise up the middle. So it was literally all things having to be covered. But now with the way the new lineup is and how it is, they have to say, like, hey, we're lining up and it's kind of I don't want to say crop, but it's crop, kind of.
Total.
They're going to put in a 4th and 15 or a 4th and 20, you think, Coach? You're a little bit more close to the situation and have better knowledge on that. You think they're going to do that for the onside?
I don't know. I really have no idea. But I would say that when you and Alinda Mare had the high hopper, that ball was so high that the kicking team got there the same time as the recovering team had a chance to catch it. So it wasn't like you had it and then you had a second to cover it up. It was the kicking team got there just as fast before the ball actually came in and it hit the ground, so they couldn't fair catch it or anything. Those were the two hardest kicks. Where you and Alinda Mare, to me, were two tough ones.
Well, that's an honor. It makes you feel really good there. And listen, if I had any eligibility, I'd come back and play for you at UNC and be an honor. How's it been, Coach? Obviously, congratulations. We haven't had a chance to chat with you since the decision was officialized. Congratulations. And ultimately, is it what you were expecting for the first week as a head coach of a college football team?
You know what? I feel like it's a combination of the hours after the draft when you're trying to sign the players who weren't drafted and the 2 days before the start of free agency and the first day of free agency when free agency hasn't started, but it hasn't. Transfer portal hasn't started, but it hasn't. Some guys are in it. They're going in it. They're not going in it. It's a lot of dealing with the player, the agent, and maybe another person, because not all players have agents. So it's been an interesting process, but it's very similar. Mike Lombardi and I were just talking about it. It's very similar to what we went through with the post-draft process and right at the beginning of the free agent process, all combined into one with the transfer portal. And then you still have a little bit of, some leftover players from high school that are uncommitted or, that are maybe weren't recruited, but for some reason now their name has surfaced and they're in it. So, it's exciting to put together a team, offensive line, quarterbacks. We had a lot of guys. Think now we're really, looking to add some skill players to the roster, whether that's, tight ends, receivers, running backs. Really want to add those into into our roster and put the most competitive team we can out there. As well, of course, I'll never pass up a good defensive player.
Yeah, absolutely. And we just assume any defense that you're coaching is going to be good no matter who's out there. But let's talk about the who's that are going to be out there. Because in the NFL, contract negotiation, free agency, you kind of know what comps are and how much to pay, and you kind of know who you want and who's the best player. In this particular case, there's no way you've been able to watch film on everybody. And also, your conversations with player, agent, or person, how are those going? Are you selling your program to them? Are you explaining what their life's going to be like? Are they asking you questions? And how long are these conversations going? Because I think that is the big question everybody has is Bill Belichick going to want to, I think is the big one, talk to all these people and explain why they should come? Like, how have those gone for you? How have those situations gone for you?
Yeah, well, we've been talking to, a number of players. And we have more coming in this week as part of the portal. That closes on Sunday. So we have guys coming in really pretty much every day this week. Still talking to a couple of high school players. We signed a the quarterback. We signed Bryce and announced that at the basketball game on Saturday afternoon. So that's a big one for us locally here. But there's still a few players involved there, but the majority of them are transfer players in the portal. And again, that portal will extend a little bit as the college football playoffs go and teams get eliminated, and then those players will be eligible to jump on it as well. Right now, the numbers are pretty high, but that'll start to taper off a little bit as we go. But yeah, absolutely, we're selling the program, but quite honestly, Pat, a lot of players and agents are coming to us saying, we want to be part of the program. Is there a spot for us? Would you take this player, that player, and so forth? And so a lot of the agents are also representing players in the transfer portal that we've dealt with in the National Football League. And so a lot of those relationships now carry over into college football. So it's been an interesting process. It's going fast, but it's fun. And it's great to be at North Carolina and great to be at this great university and back in the game. We're spending money, not as much as we spent in the NFL, but we're tossing around a little bit of money, and so I kind of enjoy seeing the players getting compensated for the arrangement that they're going to be going into, and so it's it's a new landscape in college football, but honestly not too different. It's different, but it's not too different. This part of the process isn't too different from what we've dealt with in the NFL.
Old hat for old Bill Belichick and Lombardi. All these college coaches. Man, this new world is crazy. I got to talk to A. We got to negotiate. We don't know how much money we have. And then Bill and Lombardi already have the entire thing. All right, we can't pay that much money to that position. We just can't do that. So then the conversations, especially with agents that you already know from the NFL, you can say, listen, Dave, we're not doing that. We're not going to do that. But what you do know is long term, he gets in here, we're going to build, that's an interesting recruiting situation that you have that nobody else in the entire college world has. Good for you. And I did see that Bryce signing. Of course it's going to work. It's going to work. Go ahead, AJ.
Coach, I'm sure you already have like your whole winter and spring mapped out, but something Pat and I talk about a lot, doesn't happen in the NFL, is those winter morning workouts that these college teams have where it pretty much forges your team together because it's some of the most difficult workouts you'll have early in the morning. Have you already had those planned? What do you think those are going to be like, and how valuable are those to your team?
Yeah, I think they're really valuable, AJ. Right now the team's getting ready to go up and play in the Fenway Bowl on the 28th, and then when school resumes back in January, we'll get into some of the off-season program and spring ball and all that. But it's such a great opportunity to work with the players in the spring. The number of padded practices that you can have, and you watch the improvement and development of these players over that period of time is fantastic. Something that we just can't do in the National Football League. You just can't put on pads in the spring. But I saw how much last year when I was had Coach Fish gave me an opportunity to be around the Washington program. How much those kids improved in spring ball was I just had forgotten what a great jump they make in those spring practices when you combine the practice and then the meeting and then practice and meeting, string those together. Those players got so much better, and that's what I'm envisioning here too. So really excited to work with them and help to develop the players and their skills to the highest level possible.
You talk about development. The strength coach is like the most important hire of the entire program. On that note, he's not the only one, or she's not the only one. D-Bud has a question for you, Coach.
Yes, congrats again, Coach. And I'm glad this loss in the Fenway Bowl to UConn isn't going on your record. But I know you got a timeline. And you say you're getting a lot of calls from recruits and agents. I'm sure you're getting a lot of calls from former coaches and coaches that you know. How's that timeline going with you filling out that staff, and when do you expect to have that job complete?
Well, that's a good question. I've really been focused on the recruiting and the transfer portal and all that. And so with Mike Lombardi and some of the other people here that we're working with on that, I'm going to retain Freddie Kitchens, who's here, former NFL coach, and, he'll work with the offense and he's an important hire here. But the rest of the staff, I really haven't filled out yet. I'm going to try to, get as much done on the recruiting here as I can. And then we'll move ahead with, filling out the staff and so forth. But we got until Sunday to really this first phase of the portal to get that done. So, big emphasis on that, and then we'll kind of turn to the coaching aspect of it, as we get into next week.
I love that. Got the front office hat on right now. Okay. We'll worry about the coaching whenever we get there. We're going to be where our feet are. This portal, transfer portal being open right now with the college football playoff, it's absurd. We hope that once your brain gets wrapped around the entire college football world, that you will speak and say, hey, I got some ideas on how we can make this better, because we're very much in a transition era for college ball. Speaking of you transitioning back to college, you look joyful. Tone has a question for you.
Yeah, Coach, that's been my main that's been my main takeaway watching you so far down at UNC is you look happy, you look rejuvenated. Are you rejuvenated going from New England for so long and coaching pros for so long down to UNC? Is there a rejuvenation of kind of your coaching philosophy?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited, to be part of the process and, to start on all the newness of it, the spring ball, the schedule, the recruiting, and just interaction with the other sports, with the lacrosse team here, with the basketball team. Went over and watched the basketball team work out yesterday, and they've had a lot of great players, obviously a great tradition with Carolina basketball. So just being part of the whole, community process here in Chapel Hill it's been amazing. It's been great. And so I love it. I've really enjoyed it.
Coach, how many lacrosse players are going to be catching balls for the UNC Tar Heels this upcoming season?
We have 2 players on the team and a couple of baseball players. So I have a little negotiation there, whether they're going to be in spring ball or be in baseball, lacrosse, but we'll work that out. Had a great opportunity to visit with all the other coaches here in the program. And, honestly, it's a great group, and it's great to be a part of it. And, we'll all support each other, and it'll all work out.
Yeah, it sounds like, your first words being beat Duke, really resonated well down there. And then obviously going to the game. And North Carolina fans that I know are like elated, ecstatic. They have no idea how this has happened. And then the only question was, is he going to recruit these guys? And then you saying, it was kind of my answer last week, like, I think Bill's going to be able to operate a little differently. Agents and players are like, excuse me, can we get into the NFL university down there? That's a real thing that's taking place already. Ty has a question for you.
Yeah, Coach, I saw a report recently that said, the number 1 quarterback in the 2026 class, based on one of these different recruiting services. But he had, offers from the list of usual suspects. And then the news came out that you were going to go to North Carolina to coach, and he basically said, like, hey, listen, I'd be crazy not to consider North Carolina now with, Coach Belichick there. Is that something you kind of expected when you took this job, that your resume and cachet would maybe a lot of these guys who, had never considered North Carolina before, now it's kind of a whole new ball game, especially with the plan you laid out with it being basically a factory to the NFL?
Yeah, I can't honestly say that I expected it. I'm not sure what my expectations were, but it's certainly exciting to see it happening. And again, we've got a lot of feedback from agents, high school coaches, players entering into the portal of their interest in coming to Carolina and being part of the program. So, we'll just do our due diligence and follow our process on that. And things will work out for some, and things won't work out for everybody. But it's definitely exciting to get in on the process and be working through the recruitment of various student athletes that are both here. Some kids that didn't come to Carolina, either they weren't recruited or for whatever reason they went to another school 2-3 years ago, that now have an opportunity to come back home and return to their home state and play in front of their friends and family. And so we've had a lot of mutual interest with players like that to try to to bring them back to their home state. So the whole process has really been, look, I've learned a lot, but you kind of jump in the pool here and start swimming. And I feel like with Mike's guidance and a couple other people that are here working with us through this process, that we're making progress. We're getting closer to shore.
Okay, so keep swimming. Obviously, the pool is going to get deeper, and that's where you want to be, and you've always lived, basically. I wondered, how much is your relationship? Because we learned about IMG Academy through you. Like, that's how we learned about the IMG Academy and their success in the NFL draft. I think, last 8 years they've had somebody drafted in the top 15 of the NFL or something like that.
They'll have another one this year, too.
Exactly.
Bingo.
Okay, so there it
Right.
is. How much does your relationship with the IMG Academy and other academies, I assume, around the country at the high school level, how much did that affect your decision to want to get back into college as well? And how do you think those relationships are going to benefit the shit out of the UNC Tar Heels going forward?
Yeah, well, again, it was really a big learning process for me. You know, in the National Football League, you say, okay, well, where do the players come from? And you look at some of the great high school programs, and and I'm very familiar with some of the ones on the East Coast. There are a lot of great ones out west as well. But whereas IMG, St. Francis, Bergen Catholic, right down the line, and again out west, there are a lot of St. Thomas Aquinas in Florida, a lot of great programs out west too. And so it's just been interesting to me to see. To watch those high school programs, to watch them play each other, and then see those players, move on. I want to say IMG has somewhere in the neighborhood of 90 players playing Division I football. It's been very interesting to follow, kind of the progress where those guys are and how some of them have developed, and obviously, as you mentioned, a real string of them going into the NFL. So. We've had, and many other great high schools as well. We've had a chance to, look at some of those players, and those players seem interested in us. So we'll just follow the process. But yeah, it's been really interesting now to put it all together. I spent so much time in the NFL, and now, the education of college and high school football, and we start talking about, camps and things like that are all part of the process too, that, now I'm more intimately involved in. It's really been interesting.
I guess last year, from a stat we just saw online, 24 players in the NFL from IMG Academy.
Damn.
Okay, 24 of them. And how many did you say in D1? 60 or 90?
I think it's around 90. I'm not sure, but it's somewhere in that ballpark.
Actually, 134, I think, is last year's number for
Jeez.
D1 football. And somehow all of them
So
are going to be
I'm
wearing
off by 40.
Yeah, somehow. This is what just one article is right. Where you're just, obviously, the internet has so many different, takes in this entire thing. These are all the guys from IMG here. Bama, 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 Bama. This is from last year or this year?
Jeez.
Yeah, these are last year.
So that's Saban, right? Saban also knew exactly where this thing was. 134 guys. Feels like a lot of them are going to be wearing Jordan brand.
A lot of Jordan.
Yeah, it feels like there's going to be a lot of Jordan brand happening. And Bill, I want to let you know, last week I spent a lot of time talking about you recruiting with a lot of people. Because you come on the show, because we did the draft together, because I'm considered an NFL person. All the college football people that I know are like, how do you think Bill's going to do? I'm like, well, Bill's not going to half-ass anything. He's going to be very well researched. His team is obviously going to be held to a standard, the way they're going to operate. I think he's going to win. And everybody was like, well, how's he going to recruit? How's he going to recruit? How's he going to recruit? You think he's going to recruit? And it's like, I think it's going to be a little different for him. I think it's going to be and I literally spent the entire week saying that to a lot of college football people. So to hear that it's all kind of happening the way that we thought it was, and as you lose connection there, I think it's a beautiful thing for those UNC people.
Yeah.
It is a beautiful thing for the Tar Heel people. Now, last question here, not about college, actually about something vastly different. Go ahead, Connor.
Yeah, can I just jump in there and say, why don't you come down and talk about it in person? How about if we do game day down here?
See, Andy already
bingo.
gets it.
He gets it.
Andy
He
already
gets
gets it. Yeah, Andy. Hey, we love that. And I would be honored to go down there. Lombardi tells me it's the most beautiful place that he's ever been. And obviously he told us about you guys taking the off seasons down there instead of watching film in Cleveland. We can't wait to get down there. Can't wait to get down there. Now, completely different than that. And we saw some things in your contract that says anything is possible, but you say I didn't come down here to leave. Connor has a question for you.
Yeah, Coach, as a Patriots fan, I know a lot of people in New England feel this way. A lot of us want to see you back in the NFL just because you are 15 wins away from being the all-time leader for wins in the NFL. Was that ever something that you considered when, taking the job at UNC, that you were so close to breaking that record, or was that just completely out of your mind and you don't even think about that?
You know what, Connor? I never really gave that one a lot of thought. To be completely honest with you, it's not about wins to me. It's about championships, and that's what I want to do. Is I want to win championships. The wins are great, and you got to win games to win championships. I mean, I get that, but to me, it's about championships, and that's really what I'm most proud of. Is not how many games we won, because it's hard to win in the NFL, I am proud of the games that we won and the teams that won those. But I'm proud of the championships that I was a member of and contributed to. And teams win championships, and I'm proud to be, an 8-time Super Bowl champion, part of 8 teams. And they weren't my teams. I was part of those teams. But that's really what means the most to me. And we look back on games that we won and proud of those moments. But it's when you can put together a full season and walk off the field as the best team at the end of the year. That's what really means the most to me. So however many wins that was or wasn't, 300 and whatever the number is great. And I'm not being disrespectful at all. What means the most to me is the 8 Super Bowl trophies that I had a small part in, and I'm very proud to have been part of those teams.
We love watching you contribute your tiny little part to that New England Patriots team, the hand of the Giants. And since you have 8 rings, get 2 more down there in UNC.
Yeah.
And just have all fingers rocking. So the next time you take that photo, the thumbs are in the entirety. Good luck down there, Coach. We appreciate the hell out of you stopping by.
All right. Thanks, Pat. Always a pleasure. See you next week.
Who are we talking to? Yeah, absolutely. Who are we talking to? We recruiting today, or what's the rest of the day look like?
Oh, yeah, you bet. Yes, sir. We got a lot of recruiting left today and all through the week, all the way till Sunday. We got a big week here.
All right. Well, good luck out there. Ladies and gentlemen, head coach of the UNC Tar Heels, Bill Belichick.
Yeah.